hidden in old coins like the 1 Piso 1976-2, Piso 1989, and 1 Piso 1990, are secrets of Philippine history and surprising value. Today we reveal how these simple coins tell powerful stories and why collectors still hunt for them. And if you think it's just another coin in your pocket, wait until you find out how one version of it could be worth hundreds of times more than its original value. In the late 1980s, the Philippines stood at the crossroads of history, having recently emerged from the shadows of dictatorship and heading into a new era of democracy, economic reform, and national rebuilding. The 2 Piso coin, minted in 1989 during the administration of President Corazon Aquino, became not just a medium of exchange, but a symbol of transition identity and national pride. To truly understand the historical significance and potential value of this coin, we need to travel back through time, look at the socio-political conditions of the era, examine the mintage process, the engravings, the portrait featured, and the metal composition of the coin itself. This is not just a metallic piece. It is a time capsule of Filipino resilience and transformation. The 2 Piso coin in 1989 was part of the Flora and Fauna series introduced by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, which began in 1983 and continued until the early 1990s. This coin was designed as a part of the broader campaign to promote awareness of the country's rich natural heritage, as well as to instill a sense of patriotism among citizens. Instead of using abstract or foreign imagery, the Central Bank of the Philippines chose to highlight notable Filipino figures, native animals and plants, and national achievements on their coins and notes. The obverse of the 1989 2 Piso coin features the bust of President Jose Rizal, who is considered the national hero of the Philippines. Rizal was a reformist writer, physician, and revolutionary who wrote the famous novels Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which inspired a movement against the Spanish colonizers. The image used on the coin is a profile view of Rizal dressed in traditional formal wear. Looking calm, determined, and forward-thinking beneath his bust are the words Republika ng Pilipinas and the year of minting 1989. This image of Rizal served as both a tribute to his legacy and a constant reminder of Filipino sacrifice, intelligence, and hope for a better future. On the reverse side of the coin, we see the denomination prominently written as Dalawang Piso, surrounded by native flora and fauna, specifically the Philippine eagle, or Pithecophaga jeffreyi, which is one of the rarest and most powerful birds of prey in the world, and also the national bird of the Philippines. The eagle is shown in a poised stance, capturing the strength and uniqueness of the nation. The inclusion of this endangered species was not random. It was a subtle yet powerful message that the country needed to take pride in and protect its own natural environment and cultural identity. The metal composition of the 1989 2 Piso coin consists of copper-nickel, and the coin weighs approximately 8.7 grams with a diameter of about 29 millimeters. It has a reeded edge, and its weighty feel and metallic ring when dropped give it a sense of permanence and importance not typically associated with small denominations. At the time, coins of such size were slowly being phased out globally in favor of lighter, smaller coins, but the Philippines retained this format to maintain durability and longevity in circulation. What makes the 1989 2 Piso coin especially interesting to collectors is not just the design, but also its relative scarcity in the modern coin market. As the years passed, many of these coins were withdrawn from circulation, melted down, or lost, making well-preserved examples increasingly rare today. Numismatists and Filipino history enthusiasts search for uncirculated or mint-condition pieces often housed in private collections, or auctioned for significant sums beyond this. Some varieties of the 1989 2 Piso may contain minting errors such as double dies off-centering or misaligned edges, which further increase their desirability and market value. When analyzing the economic context of the Philippines in 1989, it's clear that this coin came into existence during a period of fiscal restructuring, national debt management, and currency stabilization. Following the turbulent post-Marcos years, inflation, was a serious concern, and the central bank was under pressure to maintain both the value and the dignity of the Philippine peso coins. Like the 2 piso, served as everyday tools of the economy, but also as psychological symbols of monetary trust. When people saw Jose Rizal on their coins, they felt reassured of continuity and national legacy. By 1995, the Banco Central introduced the BSP series, which replaced the flora and fauna designs, signaling a new phase in the country's monetary history. However, the coins from the earlier series, especially the 1989 2 piso, remained memorable among the public because they were used during important years of democratic recovery, public protests, policy change, and economic restructuring. These coins witnessed the rise of freedom of the press, the rebuilding of institutions, and the return of public trust in democratic processes. There is a growing market today for Philippine coins, especially those from the transitional decades of the 1980s and 1990s. Collectors, both local and international, look for specific years like 1989 because they represent key turning points in national history. Coin grading companies now offer services to grade Philippine coins on the basis of surface preservation, strike clarity, and eye appeal. A 1989 2 piso in MS condition or mint state can fetch multiple times its face value, especially if it features any unique varieties or is part of a complete flora and fauna set. Social media platforms, coin collecting forums, and YouTube channels have played a major role in educating the masses about the historical and collectible value of coins like this. Many coin vloggers highlight the differences between circulated and uncirculated specimens, discuss price trends, and even host live auctions or buy-sell events where Filipino collectors come together to preserve and exchange their numismatic treasures. The 1989 2 piso coin has become a regular subject of such discussions due to its iconic imagery and nostalgic value. Another dimension to the 2 piso coin from 1989 is its role in the Filipino diaspora. Many overseas Filipino workers who left the country during or after the 1980s still keep these coins as sentimental tokens from home. They're more than money. They are frozen memories of sari-sari stores, jeepney rides, school lunches, and national holidays over time. These coins have crossed borders and are now part of collections in the United States, Canada, Australia, and across Europe, helping to spread the story of the Philippines far and wide. Collectors always advise paying close attention to the coin's condition, specific mint marks errors, and overall rarity when evaluating potential value. For example, a coin that has retained its original luster, has no scratches, and shows a strong strike of the image will always perform better on the collector's market than one that has been heavily circulated or damaged. Also, coins with off-centered prints or doubling on the lettering are considered highly collectible because of their unique character and manufacturing anomaly. In conclusion, the 1989 2 piso coin is more than a currency. It is a piece of Filipino cultural history. It represents the nation's political journey, its appreciation for heritage and nature, and its enduring spirit of hope and progress. Coins like these were part of everyday life, yet now they carry extraordinary meaning, especially for those who recognize the symbols etched into their metallic face. It is for this reason that the 1989 2 piso remains one of the most respected, admired, and hunted coins in the numismatic community. And whether you are a collector, a historian, or someone just rediscovering old change from a drawer, this coin invites you to take a second look and perhaps discover a treasure hidden in plain sight. This one coin may be sitting in your pocket right now, worth just 1 piso. But what if I told you its true story stretches from a nation's struggle to economic shifts, global influences, hidden mint secrets, collector frenzy, and the untold value behind this simple 1990 coin that could change everything you think you know about Philippine currency history, rare coin collecting, and lost treasures from the past? The story of the 1990 1 piso coin begins long before it was ever minted. To understand its true historical value, we must first travel back through time to the early 1980s, when the Philippines faced a series of economic, political, and monetary shifts that would forever change its coinage history. The 1 Piso coin, which had traditionally been a symbol of everyday economic life, was becoming increasingly vulnerable to inflation, counterfeit threats, and changes in public trust towards paper currency. In the late 1980s, after the 1986 People Power Revolution, the Philippines was in a critical stage of rebuilding its institutions and solidifying its economy under the new leadership of President Corazon Aquino. New monetary reforms were introduced, and with them came changes to the design material and symbolism behind the coins. In circulation, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas sought to create coins that were not only functional, but also reflective of national pride and identity. Enter the Flora and Fauna series, a revolutionary coinage collection that would feature native plants, animals, and heroes of the Philippines, replacing older designs that many believed were outdated or disconnected from Filipino heritage. The 1991 Piso coin was part of this movement, featuring the bust of Jose Rizal, the national hero, on the obverse side. With the denomination and mint year clearly inscribed, a man whose story symbolizes sacrifice, intelligence, and revolution, Jose Rizal had appeared on coins before. But the 1990 version sought to recast him in a modern light, with sharper lines, a more defined facial profile, and a layout designed to discourage counterfeiting. The reverse of the 1991 Piso coin featured the denomination Republika ng Pilipinas and the iconic coconut palm tree, which symbolizes the resilience and sustainability of the Filipino people. This design choice was not merely artistic, it reflected economic goals to emphasize agricultural growth and national unity during times of financial recovery. The coin was struck in nickel-plated steel, a decision driven by the rising cost of precious metals and the need for durable, affordable alternatives. This composition made the coin resistant to corrosion and better suited for circulation in a tropical environment. Earlier coins minted in aluminum and bronze alloys had often degraded over time and were more susceptible to damage, especially in humid climates. Production of the 1991 Piso coin was managed under strict supervision by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, and records from the mint show a robust circulation intended to phase out older coins and reduce reliance on paper money. The coin measured 25 millimeters in diameter and weighed 5.9 grams, and though it was common in markets, transport fares, and daily transactions, very few people paid attention to the details hidden in its design. Collectors, however, noticed the 1990 issue's unique features, such as slight variations in minting sharpness, edge details, and even subtle engraving differences due to shifts in mint die usage during production cycles. These small changes now make certain batches more valuable in the collector's market, especially uncirculated versions, or those with proof-like surfaces. Over the years, as inflation progressed, and newer coin series were introduced, including the BSP series, and eventually the new generation currency coin series, the 1991 Piso, slowly faded from daily use, yet its value among collectors grew due to its historical importance, transitional position in Philippine currency design, and connection to a post-revolution era. In the current coin market, prices for the 1991 Piso coin vary widely. Circulated examples usually hold face value or slightly above, but uncirculated coins, proof strikes, or mint error versions can fetch between 50 pesos to as much as several hundred pesos in private auctions and online sales platforms. Rare errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets are especially sought after by coin experts and investors. But beyond monetary value, this coin represents a turning point. It was born in a time of national rebuilding, designed to reflect the beauty of Filipino culture and meant to hold both economic and patriotic value. Its presence in coin albums is not just for investment, but to honor a critical moment in modern Philippine history, when coinage became a voice for the people. Today, younger generations may see the 1991 Piso as just another old coin. Yet for collectors, historians, and numismatists, it holds deep meaning. Understanding this coin is about more than knowing its weight or diameter. It is about recognizing the effort put into restoring national confidence through everyday items like money. The 1991 Piso also inspired educational efforts in schools across the Philippines. It became a tool for teaching economic awareness, historical identity, and respect for national heroes. Lessons about Jose Rizal, the symbolism of the coconut tree, and the evolution of the Philippine monetary system were often illustrated using this very coin. In recent years, interest in vintage coins has surged. Collectors across Asia, Europe, and North America have begun to take note of unique coins from Southeast Asia, and the 1991 Piso is one of the most researched coins online. Search trends show a spike in interest around coins from the 80s and 90s due to their transitional design styles and relative affordability compared to older pre-independence issues. Its story continues as new coin laws, regulations, and digital technologies reshape the way we collect value and exchange currency. The 1991 Piso reminds us that every coin has a voice, a past, a journey, and a potential legacy that reaches far beyond its metal composition. When we look closely at the 1991 Piso coin, we see not just a monetary tool, but a capsule of history frozen in nickel and steel, waiting to be rediscovered, passed down and honored by those who recognize its true importance in the story of a nation that rose from revolution into a hopeful new dawn. It's more than just a coin. It's a hidden chapter of the Philippines' economic journey frozen in metal. The first Piso coin from 1976 tells a story of a rising republic shaping its identity through currency. What if I told you this single coin holds secrets of martial law, national pride, and untold collector value that most people walk past every day? Stay with me as we dive deep into the uncut, uninterrupted, professional and historical breakdown of the 1976 1 Piso coin, like never before. The year was 1976. The Philippines was under the rule of President Ferdinand Marcos. The country was undergoing major political, economic, and cultural transformations. It was a time when the world was watching, as the archipelago stood at a crossroads between dictatorship and development. At the heart of this moment, the Central Bank of the Philippines issued a coin that would silently reflect the times. It was the 1 Piso coin minted in the year 1976, a circular metal object that many people used every day, yet few ever stopped to realize what it truly represented. This coin is not just a medium of exchange, it is a time capsule. It carries symbols, markings, inscriptions, and metallic composition that reflect a specific moment in the Philippine nation's evolution. The obverse side of the coin features the profile of Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, born in 1861. He was a writer, a doctor, and a revolutionary whose ideas sparked the Philippine Revolution against Spanish rule. His portrait facing left stares out, with stoic confidence, reminding every Filipino of the intellectual and moral courage that the country was built on. Around the edge of the coin are the words Republika ng Pilipinas, a term that declares the sovereign identity of the country, even under a regime that centralized power. The coin's reverse features the denomination prominently displayed as first Piso, along with the year 1976 and the official seal of the central bank. This combination of elements tells us a great deal. The seal represents state authority over currency. The denomination speaks of the monetary value, but the date is the most powerful, because it anchors the coin in a very specific political context. 1976 was not just another year for the Philippines. It was the fourth year of martial law, a period marked by censorship, suppression of dissent, and aggressive economic reforms. The country was seeing massive infrastructure projects, loans from international banks, and a rapid push toward modernization. But all of this came at a cost. Civil liberties were being curtailed, and many citizens were experiencing fear beneath the surface while government propaganda portrayed order and progress. The currency, particularly the coins, played a subtle role in reinforcing national identity and obedience. By keeping historical figures like Jose Rizal at the forefront, the regime could maintain an image of patriotism, While reshaping the narrative, coins are often overlooked in political discourse, but they are powerful tools of symbolism and public messaging. The 1 Piso coin, minted in 1976, was made primarily of nickel brass, an alloy that gave the coin a golden appearance. It weighed approximately 9.5 grams and had a diameter of 29 millimeters. The golden tone of the coin was not just aesthetic. It gave the impression of value, permanence, and dignity, which was essential at a time when inflation and economic uncertainty were slowly rising in the background. The actual mintage numbers for this coin have been estimated in the millions, which means it was widely circulated. But over time, due to wear corrosion and changes in currency policy, many of these coins were removed from circulation, some were melted, others were lost to time, and a few were preserved by collectors who understood their importance, not just in monetary value but in historical context. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas introduced new coin series with updated designs, gradually phasing out older ones like the 1976 1 Piso coin. But to this day, among numismatists, historians, and collectors, the 1976 issue remains significant, not only for its design but also for its place in the timeline of Philippine history. Its condition, rarity, and demand can make it a desirable item in the collector's market, especially in brilliant, uncirculated form or proof sets, and the value can be many times its face value depending on numismatic details of the coin. We will analyze its edge reading, its font styles, the minor design variations that occurred in minting errors or rare production flaws, and how these contribute to a coin's collectible value. You will also learn about the process of coin grading, the difference between AUXF and MS conditions, how collectors submit coins for certification, and how global pricing guides rank this specific issue based on historical auction data and private sales. We will feature stories from Filipino collectors who inherited these coins from their parents. We will review how these coins became keepsakes during an era of uncertainty and how their symbolism strengthened in the diaspora communities abroad, especially among overseas Filipino workers who saw this coin as a piece of home in a foreign land. We will also compare it to other Southeast Asian coins from the same era, exploring how political shifts influence currency in countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, giving you a regional perspective on the importance of coins beyond their face value. They are instruments of cultural memory and historical testimony. And in the final chapter of this in-depth journey, we will project the future value of the 1976 1 Piso coin. We will look at patterns in the collector's market, forecasted trends in Southeast Asian numismatics, and how younger generations are beginning to rediscover these coins not as old metal, but as tangible links to stories that textbooks forgot. Coins, like the 1976 1 Piso, hold silent voices. They witnessed revolutions, presidential decrees, and the daily lives of millions they passed through. Hands of vendors, students, teachers, soldiers, and everyday workers. And now through this video, they pass into your hands with deeper meaning than ever before. But as an artifact of survival proof that even in times of control, creativity and culture find a way to endure, José Rizal's eyes continue to look out not as a puppet of the regime, but as a silent witness to what the people endured during that period. And what they overcame. The 1976 1 Piso coin is part of a broader series of martial law-era coinage that includes other denominations like the 5 centimo, 10 centimo, 25 centimo, and the 5 Piso coin, each with unique designs, materials, and stories. But the first Piso stood out due to its frequent use, its golden hue, and the fact that it bore the face of the nation's most beloved historical figure, making it both powerful and poetic. Over the next hour, we will compare this coin to similar international coins from the same period, such as the Indonesian rupiah, Malaysian ringgit, and Thai baht, to show how political aesthetics influenced coin design throughout Asia during the Cold War era. We will also break down economic data from the 70s to see how the real value of the 1 Piso shifted through inflation, exchange rates, and government-controlled price ceilings. We will use historical economic reports, trade logs, and International Monetary Fund archives to reconstruct the economic life of the coin, what it could buy in 1976, what it meant to different social classes, and how it was affected by import tariffs and foreign investment. This level of economic analysis will bring new understanding to how a simple coin reflects the health and direction of a national economy, especially under a regime that centralized power and data control to a degree rarely seen in Southeast Asia at the time.